Is there any proposition you want to affirm, Kiyo?
Can I hear some of your views?
That's irrelevant to whether or not there's a proposition you want to affirm.
Well,
So I'm going to
agnostic
ask
on
the
a lot of
question
things.
again. Is there any proposition you want to affirm?
No, I'm agnostic on a lot of things.
So there's not a single proposition within the set of all true propositions, or even if you
Right
take
now,
maybe a
when I'm
perfect
thinking about it,
postulation,
no, not really.
that you want to affirm. Yeah, I can affirm that God exists. It's fine.
You want to affirm that God exists?
Yeah, we can debate that.
Well, I think he exists sometimes.
What is it? Only sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, maybe he doesn't exist.
I think it's... Oh, you think he doesn't... Well, do you want to debate me on that, or no? I can affirm... I have a deductive argument.
You have a deductive
Do abortion,
argument?
Kiyo.
Abortion?
Yeah.
It depends what he is, though. Are you pro-life or pro-choice?
I'm an error theorist, sir.
You're an error theorist.
Mm-hmm.
You realize even if you hold a non-cognitivist standpoint, you can still assume that...
Error theory isn't non-cog. What are you talking about? See, you're already... This is your first burger. Error theory...
error
the first thing is error theory isn't non-cog.
Yeah, it's all false. Yeah.
Secondly, if you take error theory and you're not like a fictionalist about to talk there, then it just seems like both theses are incompatible with the claims.
So
because pro-choice and pro-life
about
both...
abortion if all moral statements are false.
What's the point of talking about it? Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, if you think that all moral statements are false, what's the point of engaging in those?
Obviously, because truth is the goal of inquiry. So if you're inquiring on whether or not abortion...
No, hold on. The goal of discussing abortion is to see whether something is moral or...
Well, I wasn't finished. To be clear, I said truth is the goal of inquiry, right? And that's just true given my theory of truth.
Not the case.
That is true. Like, I take a functionalism where one of the platitudes is defined as just being the goal of inquiry.
Stop freaking out.
Right? That's just under my theory of truth, that's true.
Discuss whether something is immoral or not immoral. I don't know why you want to talk about whether...
But you're not objecting to the theory of truth talk there. You're not objecting to the theory of truth talk. Obviously, under elliptic functionalism, truth is a higher order property, which just means that it's instantiated by several lower order properties, right? And one of those properties is being the goal of inquiry. So that just means that truth is the goal of inquiry. You understand that?
Yeah, if we're talking about whether moral statements are false or true. That's not what we're talking about.
I'm talking about truth simpliciter.
Oh, hold on, you moron, hold on.
I'm talking about truth simpliciter. Do you agree, yes or no?
Don't cut him off.
Do you agree, yes or no? Also, I don't want to get mod abused, but do you agree, yes or no?
Do I agree with what?
Oh, so you're not able to track like a burger. It's fine. I'll repeat it one more time for the last.
Yeah, sure.
Do you agree that truth simpliciter is the goal of inquiry, epistemically speaking?
It depends on what topics. If we're talking about meta, then sure.
I said simpliciter. Obviously, that just means truth.
Yeah, but under the assumption that in the topic of abortion, that we do take it that morality does exist and statements are true and not false, then no, that wouldn't be...
Wait, he's not able to track. Oh my goodness. Ignore the moral talk.
Question.
No, you didn't. Ignore the moral talk because this is not a question for the moral domain. This is a question about the elliptic.
I guess property. Abortion is not in the moral domain, bro. Okay.
We're not talking about abortion. We're talking specifically about the elliptic property of truth, right? Because truth is an elliptic property only applicable to propositions. And I'm saying that whenever that property is instantiated, you have some normative epistemic force conferred within your conceptual scheme to seek out that truth, right? It's the goal of inquiry. When you inquire on certain positions, what are you doing? You're seeking the truth, right? Do you agree?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So then what I said about truth being the goal of inquiry wasn't confused. So now I'm going to explain the point of talking about abortion, if you're an error theorist. The point just is that when someone has a pro-life stance and you inquire on their view, the goal there is to get to the truth, right? That's the point of debating about whether or not the pro-life position is true, is to get to the truth. The same with the pro-choice position, to get to the truth. That's why we talk about these type of things.
But the topic of abortion is not to
Wait, do you agree?
The truth of it. We're talking about...
Do you agree?
Whether...
Do you agree?
No.
Do you agree?
No, I don't agree.
So you don't agree that the goal or the point of talking about abortion in the moral domain, if you're an error theorist, is to get to the truth?
No, because if you're an error theorist, you shouldn't be...
Wait. Then when I say talk about, I'm specifically talking about inquiring.
But not for me.
I'm specifically talking about inquiring. So you don't think the goal of inquiry in the moral domain is to get to the truth?
Can you
yes or no? Do you agree?
If that's for an error theorist or no?
I'm talking simpliciter. The goal of inquiry when we talk about pro-life and pro-choice, when we inquire on these views, we investigate these views. The goal there is to get to the truth. Would you agree?
For an error theorist, yeah.
Okay, so that's the point.
But I'm not an error theorist, you fucking moron.
Even if you're not an error theorist, you can still inquire on the views and still try to get to the truth.
How about we talk about error theory first, and then we can see whether you're true or not. Okay, so why are you an error theorist?
Yeah, in virtue of J.L. Mackey's argument from Quirinus, as well as several theoretical virtues we can motivate, including parsimony.
I don't know those, so can you provide that to me?
Okay, so the argument from Quirinus just wants to say, if it's the case that objective morals exist, which are just stance-independent entities that serve as some type of motivation, right? All that's being said here is that they would have to exist in a very queer manner. And queer here just means they're these type of strange entities. And you have reason to reject those type of strange entities being ones for which obtain. Something we use in like philosophy of science all the time is that you typically want to reject the queer entities there. And then
Bro pulled out the
Why
worst
is- why is
fucking
it-
argument.
why is
The
it talking?
worst argument.
Why is this
for
bum
everything.
talking?
up, lit.
Why is this bum talking? Get them off the panel. I already
I'll
beat
mute him,
him.
but he can stay up. I'll mute him, but he can stay up.
Already beat on that guy. But look, yeah. So
You did not beat
then
him.
you just run a modus tollens in virtue of that fact that we have the feasible.
The worst argument for
Get this bum off the
Lit,
panel.
just
not
mute.
tough,
Lit, just
Lit.
mute.
Shut
Just
up.
keep them off the panel.
Lit, just mute. Just mute.
Keep
Just
this
mute.
bum off the panel. I already beat
You're
on him.
not tough, lit.
Just
Oh
mute.
my god.
I already beat on this guy. But yeah, then you just run the modus tollens, and then further support the abductive argument, we have parsimony, where parsimony, all else equal, under Bayesian theory of probability.
all else equal.
That's awesome.
Oh my
What?
god, bro.
Bro, shut
How do you
up.
get them off the
I'm
panel.
inviting. Yo, chill.
Parsimony, all else equal, if your hypothesis is more parsimonious, or if it's less parsimonious, it's going to have a lower probability than hypotheses which are more parsimonious. I think if we contrast error theory with something like moral realism, you have way less conjuncts added in virtue of the fact that you have less ontologically committing entities there. Because if you're a realist, you're committed to saying these things actually exist. So then, as opposed to realism, if we just do a contrastive analysis, it's going to be presumably all else equal if we grant that error theory and moral realism have equal explanatory value, which they do, by the way, then it seems like error theory is going to win out in probability.
So just so I can try to clarify your view, you're saying that there's no good evidence that we can appeal to. Therefore, there's no reason for us to add
I didn't say that.
a layer to an ontology for moral entities.
I didn't say that, by the way. I said that if your view,
But that's what you can derive, right?
no, that's not what you can derive.
Okay.
You're very low. You're very low tier, and you can't track. You suck. Now,
And I
to be
just
very
tried to
clear,
realize
I
that.
didn't mention that there's no evidence in favor of realism. I said that if we accept that realism and error theory have equal explanatory value, right? And explanatory value just talks about the set of facts that you can explain in the moral domain. If both of these theories have equal explanatory value, then all else equal, the parsimony, which is just the amount of conjuncts that you have added to your theory, error theory is going to be more privileged because it has less conjuncts, has less things that you're ontologically committed to. Okay? Now, notice how none of that talks about there being no evidence for realism. I can grant that there's evidence for realism in this sense.
Claim this, by the way. He
even
just bringing up
if-
nonsense.
What? Who is this burger on the panel?
No one claims that there's no virtues. Wait, actually, I didn't, Kylie. You want to run it again? No, we can run it again after this. We can run it
There's a
again.
whole
After.
recording of you losing, by the way. Like, it's terrible. But yeah, so do you have a response to that mistrack?
By the way, it's crazy.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Do you have a response instead of mistracking? Or are you going to just say that you didn't hear me? Again, let me repeat myself for the third time.
Just one more time, just so I can check.
Okay, this is the third time I've had. I just want to flag for the audience. This is the third time I've had to repeat it for this guy, and he's mistracked. Very slow. We run a modus tollens inference on objective moral values. If objective moral values exist, they would have to exist in a queer manner. These type of queer entities don't exist, or at least we have very defeasible reasons in rejecting those given philosophy of science. So then you just get there being no objective moral values, right? And that's just the thesis of error theory. And then secondly, right, to further support the abductive argument, we can motivate the theoretical virtue called parsimony, right? So do you actually have a response?
Yeah. I mean, I can say that everyone has a basic moral intuition that, for example, torturing babies for fun is objectively immoral.
Yeah, we can account for those in error theory. Part of the error theory thesis, it holds a conceptual thesis in there, which just says that when we have these type of things within our conceptual scheme, we're fundamentally in error, right? So that doesn't actually respond. That's not a proper. Yeah, that's just true of the thesis. I'm saying we can account for what you're talking about under error theory, right? So that doesn't actually, like, I can grant what you're saying there, and it doesn't even reasonably engage with what I'm talking about. So do you have an argument?
You could demonstrate that.
Demonstrate what?
It's not tracking an objective basic moral intuition.
And that's what I did. I gave you an argument in favor of there being no objective moral values. Right? And obviously, if there are no objective moral values, then it can't track an objective intuition in the sense that there's this thing out there that's mind independent that we somehow have epistemic access to.
So you don't think basic intuitions aren't truth tracking and that they can't project any objective truths?
Yeah, in the moral domain, I don't think they are. Again, for reasons I already gave. Do you have a response? Like, do you actually have a response? Because I don't want to do this thing where we play 20 questions.
I do, because
Okay, and to be clear, by response, I mean a defeater. So do you have a defeater?
I do. I think
Okay,
I'm just gonna
what's your
ask
defeater?
you. Then, what's your response for epistemic parity in the cases of like, you're justified in believing in the laws of logic, and then you're not justified in believing in basic moral intuitions?
What's the symmetry breaker?
There is no symmetry breaker.
There is a symmetry breaker in the sense that the laws of logic are axiomatic. Moral judgments typically aren't going to be the kind of things which are axiomatic.
So
That's a
if I were
symmetry
to,
breaker, but also this is not a defeater, right? Because the
hold
questions
on,
are a
it is, because I'm
defeater.
going to ask you why.
And I just gave you a relevant symmetry
No,
breaker.
hold on. You didn't.
Also,
really
the
answer.
reason
You did not
why
provide
the
a
laws
symmetry
of
breaker,
logic
but
are the
let
type of
me
thing.
ask you. Hold on. I'm still talking.
I wasn't
when
finished
tell you
speaking, by the way. I
something-
don't know why I'm getting mod abused, but I just want to flag that what you just asked me isn't a defeater. I just gave you a
It is a
relevant symmetry
defeater.
breaker.
Because look, if you're willing to accept the laws of logic or anything that's like
Mm-hmm.
within the logic domain,
Mm-hmm.
and you're justified in believing in it, even though you can't.
I
ever
gave you a
prove it.
symmetry breaker, correct?
No, you did not. Because the both
Oh,
of them are
wait.
epistemically
I
equal.
didn't give you a symmetry breaker?
No, for that, no.
Oh my goodness, this guy's so slow. I told you that the
it's
symmetry
a
breaker is that the
symmetry
laws of logic are axiomatic.
Okay, can you prove that?
That's just trivial. The laws of the
How is that
LNC, the,
trivial? Okay,
the
for
LNC, the
example-
LEM, and the LOI are
Okay, hold on,
literally
hold
the
on,
type of
Cap,
things
just
that we
stop freaking
accept
out.
prior
Cap,
to
relax.
justification,
Okay,
right? You accept
see
them
on
prior to
this panel-
justification because you
hold on.
can't deductively prove them.
Hold on, listen.
You understand that, right? Wait, do you agree?
Do I agree with what?
Oh, so you're just talking to talk and you're not actually understanding the shit that comes out of my mouth.
That I can't
The
deductively
LNC
prove the laws of logic? You
The
can't do the same thing.
LNC, the LEM, and the LOI are the type of things you accept prior to justification, correct?
No, I mean, you can say that all these things
Correct?
are like, what?
Correct or incorrect?
About what?
Oh my goodness, this guy's so dumb. Okay, within the metalinguistic apparatus of what we take the laws of logic to be, right? I'm going to explain whether the type of things which are axiomatic. The reason why they're axiomatic, right? And you can literally look this up. They're called the 3 axioms of classical logic. Okay, but you're very stupid. So
You're
the
just
reason why
assuming
they're
that they're
axioms, stop talking. Stop talking. The reason why they're axioms is because you accept them prior to justification, and that's what an
Okay,
axiom
you just take
is.
it to be true. You fucking idiot.
It's analytic.
You know we can do the same. Okay, you know you can do the same thing with morality, right?
Not if you have the feasible reasons to reject that.
Really? So if I place my hand
And
on
I
a
gave you the
hot stove,
feasible
and I can
reasons.
deductively prove that it's bad for me, you don't think I can just take that to be objectively true?
You think placing your hand on a hot stove deductively proves that it's bad?
You don't think if something is bad for me that it's not like objectively bad for me?
No.
Why don't you?
What's the argument for that?
What's the argument for that? What are you talking about? It's an intuition that you just clicks in your brain. The
It's
same
a-
way that
it's
the
an
laws of logic
intuition.
clicks in your
Yeah,
brain.
what's in question right now is if the intuitions are truth tracking. So you just
Exactly, which is
repeating the
what I'm
claim that
saying,
it's an
which is what
intuition
I
as if
asked
that
you for the
somehow
same
justifies
thing.
anything.
Exactly.
It's
For example,
very
Cap,
stupid.
listen, stop freaking out.
You're losing terribly. You're actually
It's not,
losing
because
terribly.
I'm asking you for
Look,
the same thing.
what's in question right now is if the intuitions are truth tracking. So
Okay,
you
you
said
guys-
you
yeah,
don't
hold
think
on.
that I can prove that something's bad by touching it. Then you said the reason for that is because it's intuitive, which is just going to be begging the question against what's in question right now, which is if they're
Exactly.
intuitive.
When I asked you whether you're justified in believing the laws of logic, you'd have to say no, it's just an intuition as well. But then you're just going to say it's axiomatic. But then when we dive down into it, you're just going to take it to be true, which we can do the same thing for morality.
If you have the feasible, yeah, we can conclude. We're going in circle. This guy sucks. Terrible. We can conclude. We're going in circle. This
Yo,
guy sucks.
hit a chord.